3, 2. I
Goofy
know.
ass, iCarly BS. Come on, man. We're
Come
grown
on,
ass
bruh.
men. Yeah, we're grown ass
You
men. Welcome back to Marvel's newest show. I can't wait to talk about it.
Ain't that true? Ain't that true?
We've made it known that we are Marvel and Disney shills on this podcast. All right.
Too much so, probably. Actually, no,
Also,
we're very critical.
yeah, I mean, I was like I
Yeah.
said, I did that tier list, and I was just about to say, like, I had a lot of words for Love and Thunder, What If, and She-Hulk, but like
Yeah.
honestly, I kind of started talking about Eternals a bit. I think you'll like some of what I said, and I'm starting to like think about it a little bit more,
I think you
and
need to
like
rewatch it.
I
Absolutely.
definitely I said I was like I'm gonna need to rewatch this, and I feel like my score might go up. Also, I did kind of make a really like big realization, and I know this has been said forever, but I really do think as a Disney Plus show, dude, I feel like it would have been one of the best things that Marvel has ever put out. If it were a 6 episode Disney Plus show or even a 9 episode, and your first 3 episodes is introducing us to the Eternals and like showing us their backstory, kind of starting there, and then your middle 3 is them breaking up and showing them reconnecting and getting back together, and then that last 3 is Icarus's turn and showing like everything unraveling and crumbling and everything with like the Celestials and stuff. I feel like you would have had an absolute banger on your hands, bro. And so I started saying that, and I was like, damn, dude, because I feel like they did that. They did that 9 episode arc, and they tried to fit it in 2.5 hours, and that just didn't work because then you leave so much stuff on the table that would have been so cool to explore. And so I was like,
Yeah.
fuck. And I was talking about it, and I was like, damn, I might be coming around on this a little bit. But I'm scared to rewatch it because I'm gonna be like,
I have to listen to
Charlie,
what
you're
you
right.
what you finna say.
And then I also had some nice criticisms of Moon Knight, but I put it in A tier. I'm sorry, I had to. All
Oh
right.
my! I need to rewatch Moon Knight. In all fairness, so
Well, you can rewatch Moon Knight. I'll rewatch Eternals, and we can
bro,
hopefully come to an
you
agreement.
asking for more from me. That's like 6 hours of bullshit. All right.
Nah, I guess so. About like, I mean, those fucking episodes feel like they're 20 minutes with how they're paced. So, getting about what 3 hours? 3 hours of content. I'm getting about the same watching Eternals. Long ass movie. But whatever.
Man, you're something else, man. You're something else.
Now let's get into it. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. And if this is your first time here, welcome. We are covering another Disney Plus show, our newest Marvel TV show. And I'm so damn excited. And you know what else I'm excited about? Being joined by my wonderful co-host, Charlie, Mr. 50K, Mr.
Oh
500 on YouTube. Talk your
It
talk.
never stops. It never stops. I can't escape it. I can't escape it, guys. Hello, everybody. We are. I'm happy to be back with another Disney Plus show. I was mentioning it into our group chat today. Just thinking about all of the discussions that we're, that we're all going to have over like the next 5 weeks since we already had the first episode is going to be wonderful. I hope. I feel like actually I'm not going to say that part yet until we get into like our actual thoughts of the episode. But yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about everything, and 50K, yeah, it's quite a wild thing. That's honestly like I feel like it hasn't registered for me. I don't know
I mean,
why.
popping off 50K on YouTube is absolutely insane.
Seriously.
Like that's a big milestone. So make
And
sure
if
you go
any of
show
you
love.
are here from that, because I always link the podcast in the description. If anybody is
Yeah.
here from that, I sincerely appreciate you so much. So seriously,
Mhm.
I can't put it into words.
That'd be pretty
It's kind of wild.
crazy. Imagine everyone's like, "I'm here from the Spider-Man video." No, I don't think I'm here for Charlie solely. Um, Secret Invasion, yeah, dude. I mean, I'm so excited to be back for a Marvel TV show. And speaking of being back, Marvel is so back. Like that first episode, dude, such a banger. It was such a good time. Not a lot of humor in there. It's just straightforward, straight to the chase. We set the stakes up and we set them up in big, big ways, which we'll talk about later. All in all, I like the episode a lot. I think this was such a fantastic start, and I feel like we say that with every TV show that comes out. It's like, man, this was the best first episode Marvel's ever dropped, and like I don't know if I feel that way here, but like in terms of what we can expect going forward, I think this is like the most promising. Like out of all of the first episodes we've gotten, Moon Knight maybe comes to mind. Like for me, when I finished watching Moon Knight, I was like, oh hell yes, dude, this is gonna be so good. It's gonna be so different. And so like I'm kind of getting that same feeling. Miss Marvel and She-Hulk, I didn't really feel that way. I was like, damn, this is really good. But like in the grand scheme of the show and what I can expect from this season, I was like, we'll see. We'll see how these next couple episodes pan out. This one, I'm like fully invested. I'm like, yeah, this is they're hitting with this one. So I really like the episode. Charlie, you can give your thoughts, but it's safe to say Charlie does as well.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed this episode. That's what I was gonna say beforehand. Before we talked about our thoughts on the episode, I feel like most of these MCU shows have had really good first episodes, if not really good, then just then good. Uh, like I very much enjoyed Miss Marvel's first 2 episodes. I thought they were really nice and really creative, but then they just dropped off from the originality of the show completely.
Yeah.
And so that kind of threw me for a loop and kind of threw me out of the enjoyment of the show. And, She-Hulk was a very similar thing just because I believe it was the first episode in which her and Bruce fought each other. But
I want to say I want
could be
actually
episode 2 or something.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah. Uh, I remember the beginning of She-Hulk. I really liked the transformation scene she had and whatnot, and the way they played that out. Oh wait, or did I don't? It doesn't matter. And then though I think the one show that I didn't really vibe with the very first episode was Hawkeye. I actually like it took. I don't think I hooked onto Hawkeye until episode 3, to be honest. And I believe that they dropped 2 episodes on one night with Hawkeye as well. And so
Yeah,
after the
because like the
first
whole
2
No Way Home
episodes,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
they didn't want it to. I think they wanted it to end before the year ended or something like that.
makes
Because I think
sense.
the finale aired like right before New Year's Eve or something. But maybe that in like WandaVision. But I can appreciate WandaVision because it was
3
stylistically
episodes.
different.
Well, yeah, and that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they were going for something out there, but like Hawkeye was just formulaic crap.
Honestly, though, honestly,
Yeah,
like it's still good. And like I even talked about Hawkeye and I put it in my B category, like for the video that's coming out tomorrow. I don't want like anyone to be like, what the hell are they talking about? I put Hawkeye in the B category, and like I was sitting there talking about it, and I was like, man, it's just like a ton of tonal shifts. Like you have one episode you're dealing with Clint Barton and all of this really deep, like emotional stuff, and then the next episode Kate Bishop's making Imagine Dragon jokes with her, like people holding her hostage. And I'm like, all right, come on, what are we doing here? And then, of course, everything with Kingpin in the literal last and penultimate episode. Not even the penultimate, like the post credit scene to the penultimate. And then the final episode. It's very formulaic. And so it's like, it's still comforting. Like I like
yeah,
thinking back on it and like it was winter time. We were gearing up for No Way Home. Like it was a nice little Christmas family TV show.
that's
But
true.
man, it is formulaic as shit.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, and it's like you said, like it was the perfect thing to like hold us and our hunger for No Way Home over for a little bit, getting Kingpin back, the build up to that, even though he didn't pop up until the final episode, which was after No Way Home came out, but still, it's whatever. But to get, I think it was either the same week or it was the week after, but we got Matt Murdock back in No Way Home, and then we got Kingpin back
Yeah.
in Hawkeye. So that was cool. But back to the show we're supposed to be talking about, I guess. This was, yeah, I feel like this could also somewhat be formulaic in a way, and just in terms of what they're setting up for the future of the show, the big scale of it all. Um, there's a lot going on with the scrolls, and more specifically, a certain faction of the scrolls, but they want Earth, and so it's like,
Yeah.
um, seems like a kind of a big thing to handle, which like all the shows are kind of like that. I think actually Hawkeye might be the one exception that wasn't like world ending. I guess maybe WandaVision too. But for the most part, every show is handled like these world changing or world ending threats. And it's like, not every single show needs that. I feel
Yeah.
like Falcon and Winter Soldier, especially as much as I like that show, they didn't need these flag smashers that want to change the entire regime of of every government in the
Yeah.
world, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but and then Loki, obviously, I think was fine for what it was trying to do, and with the multiversal stuff, and I think it worked. It worked well for that. But for something like this, where it doesn't, I mean, I guess dealing with an alien threat, like there's maybe that sort of implication that it's going to have to deal with the future of the planet in some way. And I don't think that they're not handling it right or anything right now, but it just seems like a lot to take on right away or to set up right away. So I'm interested to see how they'll do it. And again, I feel like we say this with a lot of Disney Plus shows, and that's what I get worried about mostly with this is,
Yeah.
oh, I can't, I'm excited to see where they go with it, and hopefully it's good. And then every time it's like, no, it's not really that good. It's progressively
Yeah.
getting worse and worse kind of thing. And so I really don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try to live in the happiness of this episode for as much as I can. I know
Yeah.
some of the reviewers have seen episode 2, and from what I understand, it's pretty much the same sentiment. Like they liked episode 1 and 2 about the same, from what I've seen anyway. But I don't,
And
I don't know.
that's what I was gonna ask because I saw the Rotten Tomato scores came out and it was like at about a 69 nice critic score. And so I was wondering like how much episodes did they get? Did they get like the first three? Did they get like well, I was gonna say the first half, but the first three is the first half. And so or did they get the first two, like the first act of the story that they're trying to tell? And so that's what I was kind of wondering because if they just got this episode and they were like, oh yeah, we'll give that about a 69, it's like I don't know, like that this was pretty solid, like 7.5 to 8. Like this is a
Yeah,
really good episode. And so I don't know. I don't know what the ins and outs of that is at all.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure either. From my understanding, they got to see the first 2 episodes, but I'm sure some people saw more. They usually do that as well. Like maybe like TikTokers, big TikTokers got to see 2 episodes, and then actual like reporters got to see maybe the bulk, if not the entire show. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
to dive in to the show a little bit, because I do have something I want to talk about, but I guess that won't come up until the end. But starting with the episode, we open with Agent Ross. And I was waiting until we actually start talking about this to get your opinion on this. But they have their whole conversation, Agent Ross and then this fanatic guy, which I actually think I don't know the actor's name, but playing that guy, I thought he did a really good job actually. Like the
Yeah.
way he said scrolls or whatever, like that was so good to me. I was like, yo, this guy's on one. I like that. Uh,
Yeah.
but in the end, when he gets chased and everything, we find out that Agent Ross was a scroll. So how did you take that? How did you
Yeah.
interpret that part?
So I'm trying to remember back to Black Panther Wakanda Forever. He was being taken away, but then he was broken out, right? He like by the end of the movie, or like the not I don't think it was a mid-credit scene, but it might have been like the
Yeah.
last shot or something.
Yeah,
He
they
was
broke him
broken
out of a
out
van, yeah.
for sure. I I took it as this scroll was just imitating, or am I saying that right? Imitating?
Impersonating.
Impersonating? I guess I
Yeah.
got impersonating and intimidating mixed up.
I
Anyways,
mean, I think both
it's
words
been a
would
long
work.
day for me. I think he's just impersonating him because he knows what kind of a figure he is. I don't think Agent Ross has been a scroll this whole time. I don't think he is a scroll with uh that he was a scroll in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. What is interesting though is I wonder how Val plays into all of this, because how does this scroll know to change into Everett Ross to get that information? Like you would think they would have to kind of be in the know of something. And so I wonder if Val kind of has her hands in like the scroll
Yeah.
aspect as well. Like some of the scroll people, I wonder if she's dealing with that as well. Um, because we did see that didn't they used to be married or something? Or like that's like his
Yeah.
ex or
Yeah.
something. And so that's kind of interesting. But as for Agent Ross being a scroll this whole time, I think this is just somebody that knows he's an important figure and knows that they can get a lot of information being him, and that's as far as it goes. I don't think he's been a scroll this whole time.
I completely agree. That's
Yeah,
that's the way I took it too. But I've seen some people on Twitter thinking that he's been a scroll this entire time. And my one point of contention, which goes against our way of thinking on this, is that how did that scroll? And this is probably looking too deep into it. This is probably nitpicking. I will be completely honest.
mm-hmm.
But how can that scroll be so sure that Ross, the real Ross, isn't going to pop up somewhere? Because all that scroll would know, unless they have people in Wakanda, I guess, is that he was broken out of the prison van on his way to
Yeah,
prison. I'm sure those headlines made the news or whatever. So most people that would know that that's common knowledge or something like that. But just because Wakanda picked him up doesn't mean that he's like gone. Like
yeah,
he could pop up anywhere, and then it's just gonna be an awkward situation. There's two Rosses in the room, and that
yeah.
would expose everything that the scrolls are trying to do in secret. But again, it could, maybe they have some people in Wakanda. Maybe we'll find that out in this show. So I don't want to write that off too quickly. And again, that's like nitpicky. It doesn't really matter. But it's also, speaking of scrolls being potentially characters that we've known for a long time, I saw this idea pop up earlier today because of I don't think I was pausing so much because I was trying to think if this would be spoilery. Don't think it is, so I'll just say it. But there was an insider that said someone is going to be revealed as a scroll in this show later this season that is going to break a lot of hearts, is what they said.
Yeah.
And I saw someone reply to that and said, "Oh, it's Rhodey," and then someone replied to that and said, "But if Rhodey was a scroll the whole time, like that's still the Rhodey that we know, like that's just the Rhodey that we've learned to know no matter what, even if he is a scroll." And versus like
Yeah.
if we see the real Rhodey, like where's he? So I wonder if if Agent Ross was a scroll the entire time. Well, that's just the Agent
What kind
Ross
of
we know. He
difference
just
does
happened
that
to be
make? Yeah.
lying to us. Yeah, like, oh,
Yeah.
he's an alien, but I mean that's still the Agent Ross I got to know. It's not the real one. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how they'll work around that throughout the show.
Well, I mean, you would also like, I mean, unless they're going about it a different way, I feel like you would also have to plant those seeds like really early in the
Yeah.
MCU. You would have to have somebody in the background that you're like, you know what? Like, let's say it's just a random character, whatever. Let's say it's a character named Charlie in a fictional universe. It's like, you know what? I always thought Charlie was fishy. I always saw like in the background, or he would always make some out of character actions or do some weird things. That makes a lot of sense that he is a scroll or whatever. And so I feel like you'd have to plant those seeds like really early to make it heartbreaking. Unless they're just talking up their own game, could easily be that as well. Um, but on the topic of Rhodey, I mean, I also feel like I could have had this wrong. I could have had this completely wrong and read this completely wrong. But like, he was actively snitching on Maria Hill and Fury, was he not? Like, was he
Yeah, to
not
the
just giving
president.
out their like?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah,
you're kind of blowing up their game, bro. Like,
yeah, that's actually crazy. That's mad crazy. I mean, I guess like Rhodey's always kind of been like the rule follower, instead of like going on your own. Like he'll do it if he absolutely has to, but for the most part, he wants to follow the rules. Like we saw that in
Infinity War.
Iron Man 3, like where he's like, I'm Iron Patriot, and like he does missions for the government and stuff instead of working with Tony and on the
Yeah,
side and whatnot. So I think it lines up for him, but still, yeah, it's just like for how long you known Fury, you're just out here
dude, I
spitting on
know.
his name to the president.
Well, and then also speaking about the president, real quick, I did see some people point out that Harrison Ford is playing Red Hulk. Um, Thaddeus
Agent
Ross,
Ross. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he is playing the Red Hulk, who will be the president
I
in
said Agent
Captain
Ross.
America.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
was like, is it? I was like, am I getting them mixed up? He Thaddeus Ross, Harrison Ford, Red Hulk. He is going to be
The
president
president.
in Captain
Yeah.
America: Brave New World. So then something's gonna happen here
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
this
surprised if
president's probably gonna die. Yeah, or
yeah,
he is
or
a
either that or
scroll.
he's a scroll.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
good eye. That's a good point.
but like the also, and we can touch on this AI sequence because I have a lot of thoughts about that.
Oh yeah,
Um, also in the sequence, I saw someone point out that like the everything's being taken over by the green of it all, except for the White House. The White House is the only thing that stays its true color throughout the entire sequence or throughout the entire like thing. But like all the other buildings are like slowly turning green as well. And so that makes me think, okay, then maybe he won't be a scroll. Maybe he'll just die or something. Like I don't know. And so
yeah,
that'll be something to keep an eye on. We can plant those seeds this first episode discussion and see where that takes us. But that would be interesting as well because you've already kind of confirmed that this president ain't gonna make it out through this show.
yeah.
So
That's a I didn't even realize that. So that's a good point to bring up. Uh, but yeah, to continue a little bit, I guess we'll just jump right ahead to it because I don't think anything else really happens after that Ross thing. But we get to the opening credits, and I didn't even realize it was AI the first time I was watching it. I was just like, oh, this is weird. This is kind of weird looking. Like I thought it was
yeah,
just like watercolors or whatever, and I was like, this is an interesting way to do this. And then I went online and I felt like an idiot. I was like, "Oh, dude, that looked like AI art. How did I not think that
yeah.
that was?" But no, yeah, I'll let you take it away with your thoughts on it first. But what did you think about the AI art opening sequence? I thought also real quick, I will say, felt very long, very long.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
long intro, but
I had enough time to pull up my phone and be like, did Marvel Deadass just use AI for their intro, tweet it, and then sit there and sit through the rest of it? And so I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't hate it, but I also don't like, I'm not completely in love with it. It doesn't look that great, but then again, like I feel like the style they're using isn't supposed to look that great. I do think it fits the theme of the show 100%, 1,000%. It fits the theme of the show. You have these things that we don't understand at all, scrolls and AI infiltrating Earth and kind of like putting their own touch on things and kind of slowly taking over and taking roles of other people, essentially, like both of them. And so to use AI as your intro and be like, hey, look, we're kind of playing into it as well. I think that is like, that makes the perfect sense.
yeah,
I also saw somebody pointed out in the credits that people were still in charge of like this AI and they were in charge of the art. And so like no real jobs were like taken out completely. Like there was someone that had to program the AI and that put their own little touch on it and put their own artistic touch on it. And so they're not losing out or they're not just like completely replacing people and being like, oh, fuck that. We don't want to pay them. We're just going to make this intro AI and make it look like whatever. I don't think that's the case at all, but so much people are so quick to come at their neck and be like, this is just disgusting, this is stupid, like this is the worst, are you kidding me? And it's like, all right, bro, let's calm down, let's take it back a bit. Like, do we really think this billion-dollar company is going to be like, we don't want to pay them, let's just do AI? Like, no, bro, it's going to be so blatantly obvious to everybody and all your fans on Twitter and Reddit and social media. Like, I don't think they would be that dumb to do something like that. So
yeah,
I, for one, don't hate it. I think it fits the theme of the show perfectly. And even if that wasn't intentional, bottom line is it still does. People didn't lose their jobs over it. AI didn't just come in and they didn't just lazily make an intro that took them like 10 minutes to render or whatever. I don't think that's what's going on here. So I think a lot of people are jumping the gun really fast because DC just took a fat fucking L with the Flash and they need something to latch onto. I think that's personally what's going on. And so a lot of people are being real quick about it. And I'm like, I really don't think that's the case.
yeah. For me, I agree that um, it fits the tone of the show for sure, and I think so many people are trying to maybe over vilify it to a certain degree. I mean, and again, I'm not, or not again, but I'm not the greatest voice in this conversation by any means. But it to me, I will agree with everybody online that's saying saying a bad thing about this. in the sense that this is a really weird time to decide to do this,
Yeah.
considering everything with the
Oh, with the
WGA
strong.
right now.
Oh,
Like
that is really bad
that's a
timing.
very like why right now? Like you like that's just so tone deaf, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Which granted the strike isn't entirely about AI or anything like that, but it's about the potential of AI as well as the
Yeah.
other issues that I believe we've talked about on this podcast before. But yeah, it's just it seems like a very weird time to try to do that. But I mean, I don't think it looks horrible. I think it looks really weird for sure. And there were, like you mentioned, there were real people that helped work it out and get it together. And so they didn't just have one dude type into a computer and just a couple
Yeah.
times with each different scene and
Yeah.
make it hire some animators to make it move or something like that. I wonder that too. I think they had actual people animate this stuff because I
Y-
imagine, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen those videos on TikTok where it's like fully AI and they take like an AI picture or they take like an art um or like a painting or something or an art piece and they just kind of let AI take it to this whole nother thing. So like the AI will like zoom in on like the person's face and then their face will turn into a skull and it'll change into something else. And it's like
no.
just frame by frame into something. So like things aren't actively moving. AI is just taking this image, tweaking it a bit and just doing that over and over. And so I've seen those type of videos on TikTok. So whenever I saw this, I was like, "Oh, that's definitely AI because that looks exactly like the videos I see."
Mhm.
And so you still need someone to be that vessel for it. You know, you can't just be like make a 30-second video of an intro about aliens and the White House and Nick Fury from the Marvel universe and stuff like that. Like you have to have someone there manning all of that and pushing it along. So um, that's the only way I could connect those two dots and assume, oh yes, I've seen someone do this on TikTok before. I've seen someone make like a really beautiful and interesting video about this. I can only assume that Marvel's doing the exact same thing, you know.
Yeah. And it's I'm interested to see if this made a big enough probably not, but if this made a big enough splash for them to like want to change it or anything like for the remainder of the season, probably not. But
Yeah.
I
I
mean, I'm sure most of
personally,
that is already done anyway,
yeah.
so
And I
they're
really
not
think
going to
Marvel
redo it.
just does not care. Like,
That too.
there's been times where I feel like people have had a huge discourse, a huge discussion about stuff, and the response was just kind of like, "Sorry you feel that way. Like, we'll try and make it better next time for you," or something like that. And so, I can't think of a time where they've drastically like openly gave a fuck about what people were like discoursing online.
On that topic, that makes me think of when I think it was very recently that we were all like after the pandemic stuff has pretty much died down that Marvel's gonna they're listening to us and when it comes to the Disney Plus show specifically and they're gonna stop this six part thing, this 6 episode thing. They're gonna start stretching it out, but does not seem like the case at all because both this show and Loki are going to be 6 parters, and we don't know how many episodes Echo is going to have, but
Yeah.
we can only assume it's going to be 6, and that's going to drop all at once. So that'll be interesting to see how that happens. But so
Yeah.
far, it doesn't look like they are changing this 6 episode format, which we've all of us in some way shape or form have voiced how that this is not the best way to do this storytelling, or at least if it is, they're going about it the wrong way with writing each episode. There shouldn't be some episodes where i I guess we have like She-Hulk, which was 9 episodes, but even She-Hulk was not a good example of how to do 9 episodes because
Mm-mm.
they wasted the entire buildup of that show for the most part, which we talked about on this episode way back when, or not on this episode, but on this podcast way back when. If you guys want to find that and listen to our She-Hulk episode, go ahead and do that.
Shameless plug.
But like I feel like it's a really weird give and take with it, and I would love to say that Marvel's listening to us, right? I would love to say that they're taking in our critiques, especially like with all the movie delays right now. And you think, oh, maybe they're trying to get all the CGI better because that's what we all complain about, and they're trying to get the writing a little bit better because a lot of people didn't like Phase 4 or that kind of thing. So, as much as I want to believe that, I've yet to see it,
Yeah,
especially
we'll
with what
see.
the recent move of like moving Deadpool and stuff like that, moving Deadpool up when Captain America New World Order, or not New World,
Brave New World.
Brave New World now. That's what it is. Brave New World, moving that back and then moving Deadpool up when Brave New World was further along than Deadpool. That's not like that. That is not instilling confidence in me whatsoever. So. Uh, I agree. I don't think Marvel really cares at all about what we have to think. And it was naive of us to believe at some point that maybe they did, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess we'll see. The only reason I'm still kind of holding on to hope for Echo is because way before any of this stuff was like discussed, there was like very light rumors that Echo was going to be brought back down to 4 episodes. And now that like we still don't know what the episode length is, or what the episode count is in the show, but we do know it's dropping all at once. And that
yeah.
only makes me think, okay, that's definitely 4 episodes. And so I don't know if I might have, I think we covered it on during the She-Hulk finale episode. Like I said that even though like we didn't like how the episode came out, that there still is hope. And I said because Echo is rumored to have 4 episodes, and they're looking like they're cutting things down a bit and delaying a lot of stuff, which we talked about this before the writer's strike even like was as like at the point that it's at now. I think when we came back for our first news episode, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago, we said that Avengers Secret Wars was looking like it was not, or phase 6 or 7 or whatever it was, wasn't gonna end by 2027 or something like that. We talked about there being some delays, and then lo and behold,
Yep.
everything got pushed back and moved around. And so we've been talking about this stuff for a while. I think we were even talking about this during She-Hulk and during some old news episodes, about like delays coming and things shifting a lot, and then they ended up shifting. But we didn't really have time to talk about it because we did the Jeopardy episode, we did Across the Spider-Verse, and now we're finally being able to sit down here. So a lot of stuff
Yeah.
has happened also, but um, that kind of gives me a little bit of hope, but we will see if they can make the 6 episode thing work. Like if they can just get away from the formula, that's it. Like just tell the story that you're gonna tell a really good and compelling story with your 6 episodes, and we'll be completely fine. Like I will not have a problem with it at all. And so I'm hoping that the fact that they did keep those to 6 episodes, and let's say that Echo is 4, that means that these worked better as those 6 episode events, and Echo just happened to work better as a 4 episode event. They didn't want to have 2 filler episodes in there. I think Miss Marvel could have even worked as a 4 episode event. Um, Also tweaking up the clandestines and making them interesting, and
Or just not having them.
or just not having them at all. Yeah. Um, so that kind of gives me a little bit of hope. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We just gotta
And
wait.
I guess, yeah, let me preface like the Deadpool decision is the only decision that I am upset by. Um, but everything else they are moving back, and they are still giving those things more time. Even Fantastic Four got moved back. And then also speaking about moving things back, because we haven't made a news episode, I want to say that it was announced that Marvel's not going to Comic-Con this year, and
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to go a long time without official casting rumors.
Next year's Comic Con, and that'd be me and you. We have to stick it out.
Yeah, I have to. Hopefully, we can get tickets. But
Yeah, I mean that would be dope. Marvel's
yeah,
return after 2 years or whatever.
yeah, I'm sure
Um,
they'll come with some heavy footage of some stuff. But anyway, yeah, AI thing. Wow, it's whatever. Uh, Depending on who you are. Actually, yeah, if you're listening to this, we want to hear your thoughts on the
yeah,
AI intro thing. I'd love to read some. So drop them down below. But to continue on, I'm missing a little piece of the pie. But one thing I really wanted to talk about, uh, and this is jumping a little bit ahead, is they really hammer it home in this episode that Nick Fury is old. He's
Hmm.
getting old, and he's just not really it, fit to be doing this stuff anymore. And it's kind of sad to hear that. It's a little bit of a double thing. It's sad to hear that just because like he's been here so long, and like this is like okay, so yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's getting ready to leave this stuff behind, leave this MCU stuff behind. Uh, but moreover, my thing is, I feel like this episode did a lot of telling us that Nick Fury is too old and too, I don't know, not spry. I can't think of the other of
Yeah.
another word to be doing this anymore, rather than actually showing us. Because every and you could argue that like, oh, the end of the episode they were caught by surprise, but yeah, that wasn't just him. That was Maria. That was Talos as well. Like that was all three of them. It wasn't just Nick Fury. And granted, yeah, Nick Fury probably would have clocked something like that back in his heyday, um, but that's just not really believable for me when especially Maria Hill of all people in this episode is telling him, "You're not fit for this anymore. Like you need to get out of here." And then she falls for the same stupid trap that happened, you know? It's like
Yeah.
I'm having trouble believing what you're telling me because you're not showing me. I need to see it. And that's like the classic um I say classic, but I can't really think of a maybe it was Quantumania that had that issue of telling and not showing.
Hmm.
Uh, maybe I'm thinking about like that Modoc scene. Anyway, whatever. I'm getting off track, but it's it's kind of just obnoxious, you know. It's not like too big of a thing. Don't get me wrong. I still think the episode was great, but like that's really one of my only quarrels with it. And it's like if this is going to be a running thing throughout the show, I need to see that.
Yeah.
Me personally, I can't just accept that he's too old and too slow to be doing this kind of thing. He was out in the field chasing the dude that was holding the trigger for the bomb, man. You know, like,
Yeah.
come on now, got
Yeah.
me
And
tripping.
I would like to say, oh, I feel like they're setting something up for like later on in the season, or like they're talking about this stuff now so that later on when it gets down to it, I mean, maybe we see Nick Fury die. Maybe we but then again, he said as long as Marvel keeps calling, I'm keeping my ringer on. Like I'll keep coming back for these projects. And so I want to say maybe later on down the line in this season that that will come into play. But then again, it's like I mean, I have PTSD from some of these other shows and like just hopefully thinking, oh yeah, I feel like that'll be really fun when they touch on it later. And then they backtrack all of it by breaking the fourth wall. It's like I got PTSD, bro. I can't. I'm not, it's kind of hard to be to trust so easily as I was able to do back then. But um, I guess that's just another thing to keep an eye out for. That I did notice that they were doing it a lot, which
Yeah, seriously.
is like really good character work, I think, and like that's a pretty cool and interesting plot point to explore. Is Nick Fury is getting old? He's getting at the end of this, like, and it's at the worst time possible with all of the scrolls invading and the scroll faction and group that is like a revolution or that want to start a revolution is like choosing to take over at the worst time possible whenever he's vacationing on a virtual beach up at Saber or whatever.
Yeah,
um so I think that is like really cool to explore, and I do think that's great character work for a character that has kind of been there, not so much in the background, but was never really touched on a lot. And now with a 6 episode event, I mean, this is very much his story as well. And so
yeah.
I want to say that maybe that's gonna come up again later. I feel like if you talk about it this much, it has to, but I guess we'll see.
As long as they show us in some way, because I mean, I just didn't get that this episode
Yeah,
in my mind. Because even then, it's hard for me to. I said that he would have clocked it in his heyday, but like I don't really have an example to pull from in the
yeah,
MCU, at least in my mind, of when he did something like that. Maybe
yeah.
like in Avengers when he shot the jet that was taking the nuke to New York or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but even at that point, like they were trying to make everybody look like important to like, they were
Yeah.
giving even Hawkeye a whole bunch of screen time, being like, we promise Hawkeye and Black Widow are not completely useless. Like we know that they're being overshadowed, but we promise they're important also. And so that was also at a time where Marvel was trying to stick that down our throats with characters like Nick Fury and all that. But who knows? Now he has his time to shine. I'm really happy for that because I love Samuel L. Jackson, and Nick Fury has always been such a cool and interesting character, and so um, I'm excited he has his time to shine now. So
Yeah.
if you can make it work, by all means, go ahead. I'll eat it up.
I will say it's cool to see him with a full beard and no
No
eye
eye
patch
patch,
too. Yeah.
beanie.
Yeah. He looks super cool. This whole episode, he looks super cool. It's like he's a damn, this guy's a badass. Um
Well, dude, that's also how I felt about Michael Keaton's Batman. Whenever we first saw him in Flash, I knew he was going to cut his hair and shave his beard, but I was like, dude, if you just give us Bruce Wayne with long gray hair and a long gray beard, oh, dude, could you imagine him in his bat suit with no
that would be
mask,
so
just like,
different. I think I would
oh,
like that. Yeah.
I was so upset because I was like, I know obvious trailers, but like this would be hard. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah.
it gave me heavy like Michael Keaton Batman vibes.
Yeah. Um but as we continue, Ben Mendelsohn, I think is doing that's his name, right? That plays Talos, I believe.
Sounds about right. Yeah,
Um,
we'll go with
Ben
it.
Mendelsohn, he's doing a great job here. I'm loving to. Actually, what I say, I'm loving to see Talos back. I haven't watched Captain Marvel since it came out in 2019. So like,
I just
uh,
remember his face, and so I'm like, I
yeah,
remember his face, and I remember he was like a cool one of the good ones. So like, let's
exactly,
go
yeah.
with it.
I will say also that's something I wanted to touch on. What they're setting up with the actual story of the scrolls, I think is great because I remember leaving Captain Marvel thinking like, dude, the scrolls have always been bad guys. Like I don't, why are we making them good guys? And I can't remember if we knew about this show before then. I don't think we did.
I don't think so. No, I think
Yeah,
this was like one of the ones announced like maybe like last year, 2 years ago. Whenever they
yeah,
dropped everything on Instagram, I don't know if you remember that. It was just
yeah,
like posters for everything. Yeah, I
yeah.
think so.
So, and we didn't even know about this. So I was like, well, you're making the scrolls good guys. So it's like, well, that kind of sucks because I always loved the Secret Invasion comic line. I read that one. And it's like going into or coming out of Captain Marvel, excuse me. I'm like, damn, we're never gonna get anything like that. But then when they announced this show, I remember being so confused because like the scrolls are good guys. But what
Yeah.
they're setting up here of like Nick Fury promised to get them another home planet, and he
Hmm.
basically bailed. And so a lot of them are pissed and like they branch off and created this own faction. I think that's perfect. I think that's
Yeah.
perfect world building, perfect story building. I think that's awesome. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I cannot praise that enough. I was on like I was baffled watching this. I was like, dude, they twisted my not my arm, but they twisted my thoughts on this whole thing around, and I'm so glad they did that.
I thought that was so cool. Like just seeing them introduce new Scrollos, which is like I have in my notes right here. Got to be the goofiest name of a city in the history of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But um, I got right here. I was like kind of throwing notes to kind of keep my memories fresh, and I put so Gravik is the Skull Revolution leader, and oh, it's my notes corrected Amelia's name to email is. Amelia Clark is part of them, and then I had in parentheses she will turn by the end of like the season, but they did it in one episode. And then the Warriors are the ones that get to leave, take human form, and fight to keep the revolution alive. I.e., the opening scene with Everett Ross. And so I was like, dude, this is sick, dude. And they just bring prisoners in and they're like, copy his face, get his
Yeah,
memories, go out there and fight. And like all the women and children or whatever, they're going to stay here in this little rundown city. We'll take care of them here. But like, if you're going to be a warrior, you're going to have to go ham and you're going to have to, I just thought that was so. And then they just keep them prisoner there. So if anyone's like,
yeah,
oh, what, if they have two out there, oh
exactly.
shit.
And that's what I was thinking with the Everett Ross thing. And so it was like,
Yeah.
because they if they're so careful about who they impersonate, so like they don't have two people running around out there, but there's no way they have Ross captured in there, at least to our knowledge. Why like how would they
Ooh.
have got unless Okoye was a scroll when she broke him out of I've seen that. I have seen people say that
Oh.
that Okoye was a scroll when she broke him out of the van, which
Oh, I just got my mind blown twice in the span of 30 seconds. Dude, because I wasn't even thinking about that. I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense they're taking them prisoners so that they don't have two rolling around. And then I was like, holy shit, then what happened with Everett Ross? And
yeah,
then oh wow. I mean, they could even go like I said, I really feel like somehow, some way Val is tied into this a bit, like especially with how much project she's been in since she's been introduced. I feel like she has to have her hands in this. And so she was very much against all the events in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, whereas Ross was kind of vouching for them.
yeah,
I could easily see a scenario where she was like, all right, you know what? He don't want to play nice. Give him up to the scrolls, have the scrolls do their business. And she knows no matter what, she's going to be protected because she's in good business. And she gave up an asset to the scrolls that is Everett Ross. And so oh man, but Okoye being a scroll, dude, that'd be insane, bro.
yeah. I've seen that, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. I think it's possible. I think
Wow.
she'd have to have been a scroll for a while,
Yeah.
specifically just because she was wearing the armor that Dominique Thorne's character, I forget, Riri Williams,
Yeah.
made for her in the final
Racist.
act of the what? I'm sorry. What?
That boy said, "Oh damn, I forgot her name." Like, come on, bro.
Then
It's
I said
Riri,
it,
bro. Come
and
on
then
now.
I said it, bro. What? Oh my gosh. Oh, that
Oh,
was even so quick with that. That was good. Oh my god. Uh just because, she made her that set of armor in the third act of the film, and so obviously she would have had to have been there for a while if she was a scroll. But
I'm trying to think when Black Panther Wakanda Forever took place. I don't think it was ever outright stated unless there was like some little nod they did to a project that we know the timeline is taking place in, or like, like I don't know, like if they were to state about something about the celestial and the ocean that happened in Eternals, then we'd know this obviously that movie takes place after Eternals. So I don't know if they had any moments like that, but like depending on when the events of Wakanda Forever took place, and that this is in present day, because they did like kind of make a big deal about this being present day. Um, that could be like, okay, well then maybe the events between Wakanda Forever and Secret Invasion, Okoye is a scroll, or Rhodey is a scroll, or maybe like there's going to be a big like cliffhanger of an episode where we're panning over the prisoners and boom, we see like Okoye, Rhodey, or we see someone that's like really big in the universe, and so that's the only way I can think of, maybe. But then again, it's like someone that's going to have their heart broken. It's like you kind of have to establish the start point of when they became a scroll, or like if they were always a scroll, and tie that into what we're talking about now. I mean, I'm thinking of like um, Captain and Winter Soldier, or Captain America and Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Hey, that's my Captain America, dog. Sorry,
Captain Winter
sorry I slip
Soldier.
up like that. That's Captain Winter Soldier. Um, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think back to when Okoye and all of them just showed up out of nowhere. And I was just like, oh shit, okay, what the hell's going on here? And so like I could see
Aneka.
something like that happening in this one. So Okoye did show up, right? I'm not
I
getting
think it
her
was
confused with
a
anyone else.
Aneka.
And
Aneka.
that was it. But I thought there were three.
Well, there was other ones, but I don't.
I
At
don't think
least
it
I
was
don't know
Okoye,
their
no.
names, but unless they just weren't named. But
I don't know. If I have that wrong, I'm mistake. But anyway, seeing what some three Wakandan women show up and like, oh, so I could see something like that happening in here.
yeah, that's something I want to say too. I definitely feel like this show is going to have, I say in quotes, cameos of some kind.
Yeah.
I'm personally hoping, and I know you don't have any touchstone for this, but
Mhm. Oh,
Agents of
Agents of
Shield.
Shield. Yeah.
Oh man, I would be the happiest person on the face of this planet if somebody from Agents of Shield showed up in this. That would be so sick.
I've seen a lot of people talking about you know
Daisy,
who.
Quake.
Yeah. And they said something about, which I mean, spoilers from here on out if you haven't watched the episode. I'm pretty sure if you've listened this far you have.
Yeah.
Um something about her bringing back Maria Hill's character, or her
Oh,
bringing back Maria Hill. Now, I'm not too like
I
familiar
know
with
what
her
you're.
power set or
I know what
anything
you're
like.
talking about. or at least I think I know what you're talking about. She doesn't bring people back from the dead. She never did in the show anyway. But in
Mhm.
the show, the thing that brings Coulson back to life from his death in the Avengers was
Ah,
a project called Project Tahiti, and basically it
that's
was
what it is. Yeah.
yeah, and then so basically it was like it's been so long, but I think it was like this machine that basically like rebuilt the neurons in his brain or something like that. It was
Hmm.
super convoluted and weird, but it worked, and he was alive for a while, and then he made a deal with Ghost Rider and died. But
Oh
dude,
shit.
yeah, that shit. See that thing I just said right there? That's that show, bro. That is so sick. I just can't believe I just put that in a sentence, bro. Like, come on, man. That is crazy. That is crazy. People need to watch that show. They sleeping on it, dog. But yeah, I've seen some people say that like that might happen, and honestly, I hope it doesn't. I hope it does not happen because
Yeah.
you say your
I
thing
was
first, actually.
I was gonna say I hope it doesn't, but I did see what Brendan posted where Maria Hill was apparently like confirmed for the Marvels. But then again,
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see
but
that.
then again, the Marvels could easily take place before this because
Mm,
obviously Nick Fury's on
yeah,
Saber and
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
So who knows? That we
that's
can keep
true.
an eye open. If that is the case, I truly think they really killed her off, which is like holy shit.
No, and that's like, excuse me. That's why I say I don't want that to happen because I
Yeah.
feel like this ending was I haven't been shocked like this from
Bro,
something Marvel in like so long,
It's
so
it,
long.
it's so like crazy and it's so beautifully crafted because I saw someone else say this, but I definitely felt this while I was watching. When Nick Fury shot her, I was like, "Oh shit, okay, she's a scroll." Like Nick
Yeah.
Fury obviously caught
Yep.
on to that, and then I saw the other Nick Fury, and I was like, "Wait." I was like, "Okay, wait, let me watch this a little bit more." And then he's holding her, and I'm like, "Okay, surely she has to be a scroll. Something's going on here." Takes her last breath, and I was like, "What the fuck just
Dude.
happened, bro?"
Oh my god, bro. They did it so perfect because it's like the perfect amount of angry and like angry that it happened at all. Like, bro, she's been here since 2012, man. You can't just do her like that to the
Yeah.
but also like she's been here a while though, you know? And like this ending
Makes
is like,
sense.
yeah, like this is like I could see this being the end, you know? And it's like that perfect dichotomy, and I love it so much, and that's why I hope it's cemented and I hope it stays. As much as like there's a lot of people talking about she was fridged right here, and that I feel like that remains to be seen. Like we don't know how this is going to affect Nick Fury's character because that's the whole point of fridging is a woman character dying to further a man's development or plot in a story, and we don't
Yeah.
know how that's going to play out for Nick Fury yet. So I think it's weird to be jumping the gun on the fridging conversation. I do think
Yeah.
it's still possible that that could happen, but again, remains to be seen. But I think that this would be so cool if they just left it like this and not tried to bring her back because there has to be stakes at some point, you know,
Yeah.
like Loki died multiple times and he's still around, even
He
though it's
got
not our
pruned.
Loki.
And like
Yeah,
up until that point, we were like, oh, pruning is like being pruned is
yeah,
like big stakes. And then we see that he came right back. And so like
yeah,
to bust your show open first episode and be like, yeah, she's dead, and the scrolls just blew up the whole fucking square.
yeah.
Yeah, like like okay, holy shit, like this is
Like,
it's
yeah,
insane.
keep that cemented because like and we know like Wanda dead in Multiverse of Madness. Okay, sure. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
totally not coming back. But like no, like and that's I feel like they do it a lot and you know, there's obviously there's certain characters that like I'm sure Iron Man's going to stay dead until Secret Invasion when another multiversal variant of him comes around or whatever inevitably. But just like little ones like this, like you can keep that as much as I'd like to keep her around because like I feel like I haven't had enough of her awkwardly. Like
yeah,
she's been around since 2012, but I feel like I could use more of her. But
yeah,
at the same time, like I've had a long time with her, you know, like this might be a good stepping off point. It's that kind of thing. And so
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling about it too much, but it's just
It's like so it was just so perfectly executed, bro. No
yeah.
pun intended. It was so perfectly executed. I
No way
I
you just
was
said that, bro. No way you just said that. Oh my god.
uh no, dude, I was so shocked. I put it in my notes, and from there on I just screenshotted my notes and posted it on Twitter so I can put the spoiler tag on it. Man, I mean, I it's just it came out of left field. they set it up so perfectly to where you're like, yeah, nah, like we're dealing with scrolls here. I feel like this is a little on the nose. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna find out she was a scroll or something. And no, I mean, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy, and I was gonna go somewhere with it. But I guess the thought completely left my brain. But regardless, beautiful character work again for Nick Fury, and to just kind of drop us off at that point. I texted you, I was getting heavy Civil War vibes where they're on a mission, they're on a small little mission to kind of put a stop to Crossbones and then move the story along, and then boom, Wanda blows up a whole building, and didn't she kill T'Chaka or something? No, Zemo killed T'Chaka. I'm thinking about
Civil War.
it was Civil War. She blew up a building, but there was a lot of important people in there. It wasn't T'Chaka at all. I'm
I
getting that
think it
mixed up
was
with
like
Zemo.
a
But
hospital or something. I want to
was
say,
it? It
but
was
I could
something
be
like
wrong.
that. It was something like that. But anyways, regardless, heavy Civil War vibes. Oh, I hate using that word. Heavy Civil War energy that I was getting off of this. I loved it. The good guys don't go in and get the first mission right off the bat, and then they're like, "Oh man, if that was just the first one, I can't imagine what's next." Boom, title card or like ending or whatever. It's
Yeah,
like, no, they lost. Maria Hill died. What are we gonna do now? And
yeah,
so, like, I think that's a perfect ending to the first episode.
I agree.
Because I mean, you need to establish the scrolls as like these huge threats, and that's another thing I love about them is that they are these shape shifting beings. You can do a whole lot of fun stuff with that aspect of it, like shape shifting people and all of that. I think that's wonderful. Um,
You can continue. Finish your point. I just
okay,
wanted.
okay.
This is what I'm going
I,
to go to next.
Okay, wait. I was reading the subtitles. I was like, oh wait, thought we were talking about the Civil War thing. Anyways, you establish your stakes right there with the scrolls. You set them up as like these people that should not be messed around with. And what better way than to have them lose their first bout with them and lose Maria Hill? Thought it was perfect. But yes.
Um, this I when I was watching this, I was looking at these two in the hologram, and I was like, "That's crazy, bro. This is what the Flash CGI looked like, bro. This is what the CGI in the Flash movie fucking looked like. It probably looks choppy and stuff for you guys. For all you, I just wanted to bring it up for the video listener. I don't want to have it up too long. I don't want to risk like getting, Disney coming with the hammer down and everything. For audio listeners, I had the scene up with in during this episode when they had the hologram of I can't remember her character's name, but the character that kidnapped Nick Fury,
Yeah, I
um,
can't remember her
in the
name.
red sweater, and she was talking to one of her, assistants or whatever, and that hologram, just the CGI of that hologram just looks so much like all the faces in the Flash movie. If you've seen the Flash,
Jeez, man. And like him popping his head. When he popped his head out when he first like was in the Chrono Ball and he
yeah,
popped his face out into the universe,
the
I was like,
babies, yeah,
bro, this is like Thor Love and Thunder type stuff. I thought it was so funny because I just like see a floating head. And then of course everything in the Chrono Ball. Jesus. I mean, I'm more than happy to talk about Flash. I feel like Secret Invasion needs all my attention right now, especially when we're dealing with something like the Flash. Um, we can I'm more than happy to talk about it and just completely like, oh my gosh, what a film. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know who that character is, but you know who she reminded me a lot of and who she kind of looked like, and I know this isn't who she is or the character she's playing. She reminded me a lot of Elsa Bloodstone from Werewolf by Night.
I agree
And
with
I
that. Yeah.
I was thinking about that today and I was like, "Oh shit, what how crazy would it be if that was her?" Like it wouldn't make sense at all, but she did kind of remind me of her a little bit.
She just I was gonna say time traveled, but I guess it takes place in the same day. That's how much I remember about Werewolf by Night.
Yeah. Jeez.
But yeah, jumping ahead a little bit here, we touched back into the Scrollos city real quick. We meet Gravik finally. He's talking to one of his henchmen, and then the henchman goes out and tells Gaia, is that how you say her name, I believe?
Gaia, yeah.
Gaia, to go on this mission to go get these bombs. And then while she's out and about, we find that Fury, Talos, and Maria Hill are also out and about because they got a tip or something like that. And I actually really like the scene when Talos and Fury are up talking to this other scroll. just because of what it
Yeah.
highlights for Talos a little bit. Like it's slowly building his character up. Like I'm sure he's sad and lost about his wife being gone and his daughter. At this point, he hadn't seen her in a long time, and she was gone. And it seems like even his civilization, his species, like they've all just sort of branched off and are fighting each other to a certain extent. I mean, well, I guess
Yeah.
they're all more together. He's kind of on the outside. And I'm sure there's other scrolls that just aren't really a part of that. But to have him feel so lost and like he wants this, he needs to be able to do this fight on his own. And
Yeah.
he's telling Fury to let him do it, but Fury's Fury, and so he's like,
Yeah, Fury just popped a cap in his eye. I was like, "Holy,
the
bro!"
way they showed it too, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I really love that scene. I also love when he finally does see Gia, and this is obviously the little girl from Captain Marvel, right? The little girl
yeah,
scroll that
yeah.
Monica was playing around with. Oh, that'd be really fun to get them have a little reunion. Monica and Amelia Clark,
That'd be
Gia,
cool. Yeah,
have them meet in person. That'd be really interesting. Anyways, I loved that with Talos, and then also just expanding on that when he finally does get to talk to her, and he's like, "Your mother was killed by the people that you were working for," and then
mm,
at that point, she's kind of like, "Oh fuck," and then she does her little face turn. So I can appreciate that a lot,
yeah,
especially these characters that we haven't really got to sit with ever, like Talos, Nick Fury, Maria Hill, introducing new ones. Like they're really, I feel like they're taking a little bit of a risk here, but like the way they're going about it, like I know they keep everyone and their mamas talking about the Winter Soldier aspect that they're doing with this and doing a real serious spy thriller.
yeah,
With these characters, that is the perfect way to do it. And so
yeah.
I could really appreciate that as well.
I agree, and it's something I wanted to touch on as well because I know we said that there's not that many jokes in here. There are some jokes, and I think that all the jokes that there were land, and they land really well. They're not corny. They're not corny MCU. I thought
Mhm.
all of the jokes were really well done. The first one that I remember anyway was when they were sitting in the room. I think it was shortly after the hologram stuff. And they're talking about like good looking scrolls, and Talos is like, I'm actually really good looking and for my species. And then Fury's like, I've met a lot of good looking scrolls. You ain't one of them. And then when they talk about the midlife crisis shopping spree, and then Talos is like, "What'd you get for yours?" And he's like, "The
The
Avengers."
Avengers. Dude, that was such a clever line. It was just such a witty line. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, I love Nick Fury, dude.
And then this going back to this scene, the way Fury plays this whole thing, where he's like, "Hey Talos, do we have anything on this guy having a wife?" And he's like, "Everybody gets one, and
Oh yeah. That
nobody
that
gets
scene
two."
was kind of hard too. He was
Yeah,
like, ah, there you go. You had one and now you just used up your other whatever. Dude, that was so much fun. Yeah. That whole sequence was really cool too. Yeah. I agree
yeah.
with everything you said about it.
Um, but also what made me like, and I know I keep kind of bagging on Maria a little bit here, but like for her to be telling Fury like, "Hey, you can't really be a part of this." And granted, I know scrolls are like they have like super strength or whatever in comparison to humans, but like she's
Yeah.
tailing Gaia here, right? She gets in a
Yeah.
fight with Gaia, and Gaia kind of like wrecks her shit, bro. Like Gaia just kind of leaves her in the dust, and Talos has to come chase her down. So what you talking about? Fury can't be doing this, bro. You can't
Yeah.
even be doing this. What are you talking about, bro?
You're handling his business over here, bro. Like him and Challenge going ham over here. You need to pick up your weight. It's funny because oh my gosh, I saw this meme somewhere, and it was basically a lyric from 50 Cent, and it was like both of us got shot. The only difference is I'm the one that's still breathing. And I was like, damn, Nick Fury could have easily hit her with that. Both of us got shot. I'm the one that's standing here breathing, dog. What you talking about picking up my weight?
But I love this whole scene actually. Like, I know you talked about it a little bit, where they're stopping and talking at the ladder, and he's telling her like, "Your mom died because of the people that you work for," and it slowly turns her, and you can see it kind of like working her way in, and then she goes and meets him later that night. Looks like she like breaks down or something, and before like getting to the car and whatnot. Um, but then we cut to the bar scene where basically Maria tells Fury like, "Hey, you're getting too old for this, and you can't be doing this if you're not going to be able to basically help us out. You're going to get somebody hurt, that kind of thing." And now she's dead.
Smoking on the Maria Hill pack, and he's just sitting there.
oh, I forgot about this scene. We don't for audio listeners, don't worry, we don't have anything up, but I'm at the scene where Fury's sitting in his bed or in a is he in his bed? It doesn't matter where he is. Yeah, he's in his bed. But he's sitting there thinking about how he dusted, how he when he blipped away. That was a real I was like, damn, bro. Like, I mean, it's not like any like we've seen it before, but it's just like I liked because that was like the little confirmation because there were so many people that thought oh, Nick Fury's been a scroll for a while because in Age of Ultron he cuts his bread sideways, he cuts his sandwich sideways,
Yeah,
or and
yeah,
he's like, I can never cut it sideways or diagonal, whatever the hell.
yeah.
And so this confirms that it actually was him that dusted back in Infinity War, which is cool. And even beyond that, I just thought it was like a really good scene to see him still like wrestling with the fact that like that is because they've and again it's like what we talked about earlier. Uh, they keep hammering home that he's too old and like he's been different since the blip, and this is showing him still wrestling with the events of the blip. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but I want to say that like
Okay.
this blip stuff, like it's a really mixed bag for me because I feel like they like touch on it, pull away, do something else, then touch on it, and then pull away with a different project. And it's like I like that. I think it should be like a thing that's like referenced multiple times in small ways and whatnot. But it almost just feels like they're trying to make up for the lack of doing anything prominent with it after the fact.
Yeah,
Like we got bits and pieces in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier with like people being displaced, and that was like part of the Flag Smashers whole thing and
yeah.
whatnot. Um, but again, that was just bits and pieces. Loki, we got nothing because it had nothing to do with it. Even Hawkeye, nothing. And it's like, and then
Yeah.
now 2 years after Hawkeye, we're here and we're still talking about the blip. We got a little bit of an in WandaVision with Monica coming back, which I thought was nice. I thought that was really cool. But
And they've shown bits and pieces like Yelena dusting back together in
oh,
Black
I
Widow,
guess
but
yeah,
like
that was
never,
Hawkeye. Yeah, no,
but still, oh, that was Hawkeye. Oh
I
yeah,
think it
yeah,
was.
you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that was my bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they still never do anything like, which I'm maybe Daredevil still has a chance. You
Yeah,
have 18 goddamn episodes. I mean, you gotta have to do something with it. Maybe Daredevil still has a chance with it, but yeah, they haven't like. It does feel like kind of a thing to be like, oh yeah, the blip happened. Like we're still trying to stay close to Endgame because like we're still trying to like show ourselves and show our distance and stuff, and show that we're not too far. Even though these movies and shows do take a long time to make, we're still not that far from Endgame. I
yeah.
feel like that's a lot of what it is too.
And that's the thing for me is like I don't know if it's just maybe it's just a me thing that I feel like I'm so far removed from Endgame and everything that happened with that I feel like the majority of everything that we're watching here should have already been a struggle with a lot of these characters.
Yeah,
And this I don't know when Secret Invasion takes place in the continuity of the MCU. Like we just talked about, it might be before the Marvels, it might be after the Marvels. We don't know.
yeah,
I'm sure we'll find out, but it's just very jarring to think that we're still dealing with this kind of stuff, even though I'm also happy at the same time because this is the stuff that I wanted to see way back right after Endgame at the start of phase 4. I wanted to see people reeling with because that those what was it first 15 minutes of Endgame, 20 minutes, probably more than that, like half hour of Endgame, where they're in the post blip world 5 years later dealing with all that. I was like, yo, I still to this day love that scene with Cap in the support group. That like
hmm
that is so fantastic. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's like god tier writing or anything like Oscar worthy or anything, but it's like it was so good to watch Cap like interact with regular civilians and like try to help them cope with something that they failed to prevent. It's like, and granted, like that's just one aspect of it. And like Fury, the seemingly impenetrable Nick Fury, dealing with the fact that he died essentially and trying to come back from that. But
yeah.
I wish we'd got this sooner, I guess, to try not to drag it out more. It's just like I don't know. I feel like this is something that should have happened before, and not to sound. I don't want to sound ungrateful. I'm glad that it's happening now, but it also just feels like too little, too late. Like I kind of want to be almost over it by now, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It's a really mixed bag for me. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it is really odd how they're still trying to like not use it as a plot point because it's not like that big of a plot point. It's kind of just like passing in dialogue. Um, but I mean, if you think about it, if the snap happened in 2018 and that was like present day MCU, like our present day plus present day MCU, and then the blip was 5 years in between, we're already at that 5 year mark. Like us as people, we're
Yeah.
already at that 5 year mark. And so I don't know, like if you do say Secret Invasion is present day, like our present day type of present day, um, then for them the blip had just been settled like a couple months ago, maybe a year ago or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. And so it is really odd to hear it come up every now and then, and kind of see them. You can actively see them trying to be like, "Hey, this is our timeline," or like, "Hey, we still remember the blip happened. We're not like completely out of it."
Yeah.
Um, it is a good thing they're using it for their characters, though. And someone like Nick Fury, who we wouldn't expect to be affected this bad by the blip, is, and he's struggling with a lot of that in this show, and so I can appreciate it from that aspect.
Yeah, and that's what for me. That's what I enjoy about it too. Is because, like I mentioned, the seemingly impenetrable Nick Fury. To see him, I'm not gonna. I was gonna say to see him penetrated, but yeah,
Oh,
let's
shit.
ignore that. Let's ignore that. Let's move on from that.
Oh man.
But yeah, jumping ahead here, then Gaia meets up with her dad and tells her, "I'm gonna mark the bags with infrared." And here's my thing with this though. So we end up finding out that they were decoy bags. So do you think how did you interpret that? Do you think that she's actually on their side and like Gravik just anticipated that she was helping them and so made those
Mhm.
bags decoy bags, or she lied and she marked bags but they just were decoy and she knew they were decoy bags essentially?
Yeah, I feel like the first option. I took it as like she inadvertently led them to their site, and like either Gravik or his little henchman, the new dude they recruited. I think he took no. It was definitely an older like veteran there, right? They didn't bring that new black dude in and then immediately make him like his henchman,
Yeah,
because that dude he meets with is a different guy, right? So
yeah,
um maybe the way I took it, not maybe, the way I took it was that she is genuinely trying to help her dad, but she inadvertently led them there. She led all three of them there: Talos, Maria Hill, and Nick Fury. And Gravik or his henchman caught wind of it because he was eyeing Amelia Clark a little weird, and she was with the guy. He was eyeing both of them a little bit weird at the settlement, and so I took it as that, as maybe Gravik caught wind of it, switched out the bags, and then kind of was like, "Hey, this worked out perfect. What a coincidence!" And they were able to foil that plan like that, because I don't see you bringing Amelia Clark in and well, you know what? I was gonna say I don't see you bringing her in, making her and just making her like one of the main villains of the season, but at the same time, does it really make sense to bring her in, make her a good guy in the first episode, and then have her be a staple of the good guy side while she's a part of this settlement, like, and she's been a part of the settlement? Because you can tell she's real passionate about
yeah,
it, the way she's showing him around, and
exactly.
is like, if you're gonna be a warrior, you're gonna be out there fighting. And so I say that, but at the same time, I'm kind of thinking the opposite now, now that I'm saying it out loud.
See,
So
for me, I was thinking she knew they were decoy bags. That's what I like. Like she
that makes sense as well.
met up with her dad just to like. I feel like that's laying the seed. Like I think she will turn to the good side eventually, but just I don't know if that one conversation with her dad about their mom being dead and why and how she died was enough for it to really sink in for her. I could be wrong. I'd be happy with being wrong. I'm not opposed to the story direction of her actually being already a good guy. I do think
Yeah.
it would be a little quick, like you mentioned, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'd love to see her on the Secret Invasion team, especially now that they're one member down. That's crazy. But
They're
yeah,
missing
no,
their girl character in the group, so they need to bring Amelia Clark in.
exactly. Um, but well, actually, do you have anything else to say about that or no?
No, that
Okay, okay,
you have persuaded me a bit to where now I'm thinking about it. After saying it out loud, I was like, yeah, they wouldn't bring Amelia Clark in to like keep her as a villain, but then I was like, oh shit, but she's a damn good actress, so like they very easily could like.
yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
Something I liked here, but I really could have liked it more. When Nick Fury's walking through the crowd, he starts following this little girl with the ball, and then she transforms into the older man from the bar, and then it starts and then transforms into the woman from the park bench, or not park bench, but just on that bench that was kissing that guy earlier in the episode. I really, really like this because it's a good reveal that like, oh, he's been watching him this whole time. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you already kind of got that feeling because they focused on all these characters a little bit too much for it to just be like nothing, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And so I wish it was more like in passing. Like I feel like the one that would felt the most in passing thing was the bar guy. Was when Nick Fury had that slight conversation with him. It was like, "Oh, let me get a drink for this guy right here," and he's like, "I want vodka." And then Maria was like, "Oh, you're getting to know the locals, huh?" Like I feel like that one was very much in passing, but like the little girl one, he was basically just
yeah.
like, "What are you doing, bro?" Like, and then the girl on the bench as well.
That
Like,
was
come
the one
on,
I was gonna say. She's like just staring straight in his soul, and I'm like, all right,
yeah.
bro. How are you Nick Fury and not like, oh yeah, this is odd. She's not just staring at me because like I'm a black man in Moscow. She's staring at me because something's going on here. But let me just keep walking and minding my business. It's like, bro, come on, bro. She's like staring a hole through you.
Yeah.
I wish that was a lot more in passing. Like that would have been so cool to look back and be like, holy
Yeah.
shit, those are the same people.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like, I'm watching and I still get that a little bit, like, oh, that was him. But like, I knew that it was gonna be something, you know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Then we get to the end here, and then there's the bombs going off and everything, and like we mentioned, there's a bunch of chaos, and then the moment we gushed about earlier happens. It's such a great way for it to happen because like Aiden mentioned, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, she's a scroll and Nick Fury's still top of his game, bro. He's figuring it out. And then it just turns out to be Gravik, and oh my god, bro, I'm watching it. Oh, man, that's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, I am watching the uh I'm watching back the fanfare, the Marvel because I saw someone say that that was different as well. Like they didn't do the typical Marvel fanfare. And
Oh
so I
yeah, it's
had
a
just
different yeah.
thought about it
It is
right
a different
now.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot shorter. I think this is the
I
new
wonder
TV show one.
why. Yeah. That would
Yeah.
make a lot of sense. Like how the special presentations have that little spectacle of an intro.
Yeah.
Um, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, well, that's about all I had
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, I think that ending setting up Gravik as this like as this absolute threat and like it, setting your stakes in the first episode. I don't like I can't remember a lot. I can't remember any Disney Plus show that really did something to this extent as far as like stakes and like setting up your villain wise. Hell, we've gotten past shows in the past where your villain wasn't established until the seventh or eighth episode. Like, what are we talking about? And then this one, right off the bat, he kills Maria Hill, and he's like, he looks at Nick Fury, and he's like, "I'm here, dog," and dips off, and it's like, oh shit. So,
One th- one thing I didn't like, and this is it's gonna be a little bit off track, but I just want to cover it real quick. I saw
mhm.
somebody tweet that like this moment shows that the hero actually has consequences for his decisions, something that Phase 4 was lacking. I was like, "What are you talking about, bro? What are you? This is
Does Spider-Man No Way Home not exist, bro?
like what?
Like,
Like
what are we
what the
talking
like?
about?
Oh my god! I just feel like people make stuff up just so they can hate on Phase
Yeah,
4. It's so
yeah.
obnoxious. But that's all I really wanted to say. It's just
Uh,
because I don't know.
No, I was just gonna say after making the video today, the Phase 4 tier list. After making that video, I kind of took a step back and I realized that like I didn't have any F tiers because I truly don't think as much as I shit on Thor: Love and Thunder and a little bit of Miss Marvel, I truly don't think there was any like F tier um, projects in Phase 4.
Mhm.
But taking a look back at it, I had it was very balanced. I had two, and I'll go from S, A, B, C, D. It was like 2, 4, 3, 3, 4. And I was like, I took a step back and I was like, overall, this is a very balanced phase. Like, of course, we had our like big, amazing projects. We had our like stinkers, and then we had our ones that were like in the middle and that you could rearrange that way. But like it
Yeah.
was overall very, very balanced. Like I don't really see the whole discourse around like phase four is easily garbage or phase four this, phase four that. It's a in my opinion, it's a balanced phase, and I think phase 5 has kind of gotten off to, like, a pretty decent start. I mean, you drop one of the best Marvel movies of all time, Secret Invasion is off to a good start, Ant-Man: Quantumania, yeah, whatever, it can
The
just kind of
Marvels is
fall
gonna
in
be
those.
peak.
I mean, and that's what I hope so, because 'cause I'm tired of the discourse. I was so fed up with it while phase 4 was going on, and all of the dude bros that wanna act like they're higher than everybody just being like, "Marvel phase 4 was trash, bro. This is really what y'all standards are." It's like, "Alright, bro. We can talk about
Look
the
where that
Flash or what?"
look where that gets them though, bro. They
Exactly.
banned now. They're
Yeah.
banned. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
What is
Um,
Thanos' line? "Where did that bring you?" "Back to me." He's like, "Yeah,
you know
bro."
damn well they already made new accounts. They are probably already trying to get back up.
Oh, Jesus, bro. Anyways, but yeah, so here's to hoping that Secret Invasion capitalizes. I would absolutely love to get another really good Disney Plus show that everyone talks about, like really liking. Because we haven't had that for a while, man. Like Hawkeye, maybe, but even that, like a lot of people didn't like. Loki, I think was well, I guess Moon Knight was all around positive. Um, but there was still a little bit of people, but like Loki, I feel like is the one that like 8 times out of 10 you're going to see people that love it.
Yeah.
Whereas like She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, you're going to see like the complete opposite. And like
Moon Knight was positive when it was airing, but I feel like a lot of
yeah,
people have
I
just
feel
been
like back then, yeah.
turning it.
So but even then that was what a year ago already.
Yeah, it's been
So
that's wild.
it'll be nice to finally get a win back on our side. This is Marvel's time to capitalize. Like, bro, you just saw what happened with the Flash. You don't have any movies coming out until the Marvels. Like, this is your time to get the hype back. Like, you got to get people back on their side. Not that everything's a competition between them, but sometimes it does feel like it is because of the timing that they drop stuff and stuff like that. So we'll see. I hope Secret Invasion is a big fat W.
We were watching The Boys this time last year, man.
We
That's
were.
crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's already summer, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man, talk
Good
about peak,
times.
bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Season. Oh man, I cannot wait to like
Yeah.
get into The Last of Us season 2, Boys season 3, like those absolute Invincible season 2, Peacemaker
Dude,
season. I can't
any
wait to get into
news
it.
on that, bro? Where is Invincible season 2, bro?
I
Oh
know.
my god.
I feel like they just keep being like, "No, we're back. I promise we're back. Like, don't worry, this time we're good." And then they go away for a long time, and then they're like, "Hey, we're back, guys. I'm sorry." Like, come on, just drop it. But
I felt like I thought obviously I didn't really think this, but I saw a guy that looked somewhat I saw him from behind only, that looked like Robert Kirkman, and I was like, "Yo, if that's that motherfucker, I'm gonna run up hey, yo,
hey, whoa,
where's
what's
Invincible
going
season
on?
2?"
Hey, I'm completely fine with it though. We waited 5 years for Across the Spider Verse, and look how that came out. I do not mind waiting 3, 4 years from Invincible. Take your time. You're gonna make. I mean, Invincible season 1 was amazing.
Crazy, it's
Go
been
ahead,
2
take your time with
years.
this.
It's been 2
It's been
years.
2. Okay, then it
Yeah,
wasn't.
it
Okay, yeah,
aired in 2021. That's wild.
2021. That's right. It wasn't pandemic. Yeah, it was airing the same time as
Falcon.
Falcon. That's what I was going to say, but I
Yeah.
was like, I don't remember. Yeah, because I think the finales came out like the same week or something like that, or like a penultimate,
Yeah.
something like that.
Um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. My closing thoughts on the show, obviously, I liked it a lot. I'm excited to see where the show can go. As I mentioned, I think the story with the scrolls they're setting up for them to be villains right now is amazing. I think that's a perfect way to go from where they leave them off in Captain Marvel. And I'm very interested in this Gravik character. As Aiden mentioned, setting the um, stakes early with him and what he's willing to do because of how slighted he feels due to Nick Fury. I think is great, and he's not afraid to cross any boundaries. And I'm interested to see also how this is going to play out, because they mentioned multiple times how this is going to start a war, and the bombs went off, and so I can't wait to see what this might inspire. And if that's the case, though, like, I find it so hard to believe if this is going to start a war, ain't nobody gonna like try to step in, and like we ain't gonna see
Yeah.
Sam. Like, Sam ain't gonna show up. Where's Cap
Hey,
at,
you
bro?
never
Come on.
know. You never
Hey,
know. This is phase 5 now,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We'll
I
see.
want. Do you think we're gonna see Rhodey suit up in this show at all?
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. I do wonder how like grounded they're gonna keep it.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, Rhodey is. I mean, that would be grounded in my opinion, having just this
Wait, bro.
tactical walking tank or whatever.
We still have Armor Wars coming out, bro, and that's a movie now. So
Is
like
it a
Rhodey,
movie or is it a special? It's a movie, right? It's not a special
I
presentation.
think
I
it's a
didn't make that
movie.
up.
I think they said
Okay.
it's a movie. Unless I'm
So then
tripping.
you can't make Rhodey a scroll,
Yeah,
huh?
that's what I'm wondering. Unless he was like halfway, like maybe after Avengers Age of Ultron, he was taken away, which would suck, bro. That means he missed Tony's death. That's crazy.
Holy dude, and then you could do a whole lot with that.
Yeah, seriously.
Mm.
Dang. If it is
That's what I'm
Rhodey,
saying.
that's if it is.
They have a chance to absolutely cook out of their minds with this like scroll plot line and like the shape shifting and stuff because we really have no idea at all. And
Yeah.
like we're one episode in, so like I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but like they do have a lot of really cool stuff they can do and play around with. Again, PTSD. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but they do have a lot of cool stuff they can play around with. So
I know we feel so slighted in the past, so we just have to preface. But
which
yeah, thank you
could be
guys.
good. It could be good for general audiences that end
Yeah,
up
no,
loving this. So
I hope so, man. I hope this puts the name of Marvel and Disney Plus shows specifically back in good
mhm.
faith, and maybe even the movies, because some of them seem to be struggling. Quantumania, Guardians 3's did all right. It didn't make it not all right. 800 million is really good,
800
but
million, yeah, it went
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening again. We appreciate you guys. I know it's been a little minute since our last episode, but we had to. It was a busy week. We all had like our own
Yeah.
channels to take care of. Aiden was busting out videos on the Flash and whatnot. Go check his channel. It'll be linked in the description below, obviously. But yeah, it was a bit busy times. And oh wait, I'm skipping ahead. I almost completely forgot. We got to do the guest
You want
character.
to? All right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, we definitely can. I thought you were gonna close out and then be like, if you want to stick around for the guest of Marvel character,
Oh no,
then you
I was
can.
yeah, no, I
Nah,
was jumping. I was jumping the shark. I was jumping the shark.
no, we can do it.
Aiden, are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. MCU guess the character. Round 1. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Are they in multiple phases?
Yes.
Did they originate in phase 1?
No.
Phase 2?
No.
Phase 3?
Yes.
Okay. Is there an Avenger in the movie of the original 6?
No.
No. Okay. So is it Doctor Strange?
No.
Is it any of the Guardians of the Galaxy
No.
characters? Is it a character in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume
No.
2? Is it a Spider-Man movie?
No.
Is it Black Panther?
No.
Is it Captain Marvel?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a male?
No.
Is it a female?
No.
Okay, I knew you were gonna give me with that one. Oh man.
5 seconds.
Is it a scroll?
No.
Is it a Kree?
No.
Is it a Flurkin?
Time. One more guess? What's the guess?
So it's not a Flurkin? It's not the Flurkin?
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you. You asked if it's a Flurkin?
Is it the Flurkin? Yeah, the cat.
Yes.
Yeah! Let's go!
Damn it,
Let's
bro.
go! At the buzzer. Bing!
Oh
Let's
my
go.
God, bro. I hate this.
They are in multiple phases because they're in
Yeah, because they're gonna be in phase 5. Yeah.
interesting. Oh, dude, and if I would have asked phase 5, because I've been thinking about doing that. I did it one of the times we guessed, and I was like phase 1, 2, 3, and then I went to phase 5 because it's like they could get me with that phase 5, and that way I don't waste a question. Because if it's not phase 5, it's obviously 4, and I can just go off of that. And
Yeah.
so, oh man, that was a good one, dude. That was a good one. I wish I would have
I
asked
thought I
if
was
it
gonna
was
get
phase
you with that.
5.
I thought I was gonna get you with that, bro.
I forgot I started off with that. I never because we haven't started off with that since we did it with Mimish because it's like fuck he found a loophole. But I forgot I started off with that. So I should have been like, oh, multiple. So are they also in phase 4? Or
Yeah.
phase
Phase 5,
5?
yeah.
All right, good one, dude. Good one. I kind of forgot who my character was. Oh no, I can't remember. Let me see. Give me 1 second.
Oh
Gotta double
gosh.
check.
For the love of that. That's not good.
No, I don't need a specific name because you don't need to give me a specific name, but knowing you and your memory, you might remember it. Anyways, okay, I got it. Let me pull my timer up. I'm just so glad I finally got one. Jesus, man, I was on a bad streak right there for a little bit. All right, we got a minute. Guess the MCU character, Charlie. You have a minute on the clock, and your time starts now.
Are they in multiple phases?
No.
Phase 4.
Yes. No, phase 3. Sorry, I'll give you that one. Phase 3.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay,
I
okay.
messed you up. Yeah.
In an Avengers movie,
No.
Guardians movie,
No.
Spider-Man movie,
No.
Captain Marvel,
No.
Doctor Strange.
No.
What? It's coming down to the wire here. Ant-Man.
No.
What the fuck? Bro's tripping. What else was in phase 3, bro?
10
Captain America
seconds.
movie?
No.
Dude. Is it a male?
Yes.
Oh my god, what? Bro, what? What?
Final guess.
What?
I really hope I didn't like fuck this up, but I guarantee you I don't think you said this movie. Final guess. Literally
What?
anything.
Oh my god. Phase 3. Am I just tripping, bro? Oh my god, I didn't say fuck. Fucking. Korg.
Oh, that's a really good guess. It was the Grand Master, Jeff Goldblum's character from Thor
Oh my
Ragnarok.
god. I realized
were
I didn't say
there,
Thor
yeah.
Ragnarok, bro. And I was like, dude, it's gotta be someone there then. Oh my god.
Damn, dude. If you would have, I was half expecting you to just pull that one out of nowhere and absolutely get me.
My other one was gonna be what's his name? Meep? I don't know.
Meek or whatever.
Meek,
I don't know,
yeah. I don't know. I forget his name.
Yeah, I was like, I'll take Jeff Goldblum's character because I forgot his name, and then I was like, okay, Grandmaster, that's not a complicated name. So I was like, he'll probably remember it, but I will take just Jeff
Dude.
Goldblum's character.
I can't believe I
Damn,
forgot
you're
Ragnarok,
there, bro.
bro.
I really thought you were just gonna hit me with a, I don't know, the Grandmaster, and I would be like, are you fucking serious right now, bro? What is going on?
Oh my god, bro.
Another dub.
yes.
Let's get it.
I'm glad you can add it to the tally finally, bro. After 2 weeks of,
Dude, I know.
misses, bro.
Jeez, yeah, I got screwed these past 2 weeks. Mimish actually got a good ass one on me, man. I can't even hate on that. I just did not ask the right questions. But
dude, damn. I really thought I was gonna get you with Goose, man. That's a bummer. The tables were turned on me. That's crazy.
I can't believe I called it I resorted to Flurkin instead of Goose. Just saying the name Goose. I was just like a Flurkin, the name nobody remembers. Who knows?
Yeah.
If we come back at it with a Flash episode, if we end up wanting to do that, we can run it up again. We'll see.
Guess the DC character. I don't have
that
kind of DC.
Shit. I'd be like, yeah, bro, that'd be. I just like pull the most random character out of like Birds of Prey or something.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you can sign this out.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse my yawn. Thank you guys so much for listening again. Sorry we didn't get an episode out last week. we're obviously this show started. We're gonna have weekly episodes of this show covering it throughout its entire run. And then after that, we're probably going to go back to the news and covering some other stuff. We're going to have, I think we've talked about it before already, but we're going to have some stuff in the works for Comic-Con and whatnot potentially. And so keep your eyes tuned for that. We're going to do what we can because we're going to be remote from all of our locations. So it'll be a challenge, but we're going to try to make it work. But anyway, if you liked this and you're watching this on YouTube, if you're looking at our beautiful faces, go ahead and hit the like button. We would greatly appreciate it, or hit the dislike button if you really want to be a meanie head, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss our weekly coverage of Secret Invasion if you liked it that much. Us rambling for an hour and 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But yeah, and if you're on a audio listening platform like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything like that, go ahead, drop a review, drop a follow to the podcast as well so you don't miss our uploads over there. And you know what? Audio, probably the best way to do it if you're doing other things, to be honest. I will say the visual's pretty nice though. Like I gotta, not to brag, but um seriously though, thank you guys so much. We will be back next week or maybe even sooner if we end up doing the Flash. But actually, yeah, if any of you are listening, if you want to see us cover the Flash, let us know. That'd be
Yeah.
greatly appreciated.
Let's
Yeah,
get some interaction and some communication down there.
exactly. We want to talk to you guys more.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. We hope you have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever day or night and evening are pretty similar, I guess. Afternoon, but yeah, you guys
Whatever
get it.
time it is for you.
Yeah, wherever you are, whatever you're having, I hope it's good. I hope it's nice. I hope it's happy. I hope your family's good. I hope you're all good. Yada yada yada. All right.
We'll see you in the next one.
Adios.
Peace. Oh, I pushed my laptop webcam. I should have pushed this one. Peace.
Oh.